2023 has been dominated by Max Verstappen and Red Bull winning every single race after the British Grand Prix. And us fans get excited when we see a battle for the lead, as it is so rare. We all heard the roar of the British crowd when Norris took the lead at Silverstone, as we've been so used to Verstappen taking the lead and nobody getting near him as he wants to win the race. The thing that has been most exciting of this season has been the battle in the midfield, which is very close to say the least. There are the backmarkers, of course, who are out of the points in almost every race in Alfa Romeo, Alfa Tauri, but the rest of the grid looks so competitive and is capable of getting in the points every race, so it is hard to call. The Williams of Alex Albon beating both the Ferraris at Silverstone showed how close the midfield is and how you cannot call it before a race. In the race prior, Ferrari was said to be the second fastest team and then got beat by a Williams in the following race, showing how unpredictable this is. In today's video, we'll be talking about how this may be the best midfield battle in recent history by having so many teams on the podium, how the regulations may be working in some way or another, and finally, how the McLaren upgrades make it possible for the slowest teams now to be competitive in the near future. Let's get right into the action, shall we? The reason you clicked this video is, of course, how the 2023 season may be the best midfield battle that we have seen in recent history. Now, we have to say that we are only halfway through the season as we speak, and the rest of the season could see some teams just walk away and be clear of everyone else in terms of pace. But what we have seen so far shows how good this season has been. At the start of the season, we expected Mercedes and Ferrari to be the ones to challenge Red Bull and be the ones closest to them picking up the podium points. However, as we've now seen, Aston Martin surprised us all and was the one closest to Red Bull, and that meant that three teams were in the battle for P2 of the championships. For the first few or so races, it was Aston Martin looking second quickest. Then it was Ferrari in Baku, for example, and then it was Mercedes in Spain. You just cannot call it. And that is what's making the battle for P2 so exciting, as three teams are so close to each other, and at each track, they were quick. You also have to look at Alpine, who has been on and off at times, and when they are quick, they get results. Ocon getting a podium, showing that anything is possible for the other teams too. In 2022, we only had McLaren, who was the only non-Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari team on the podium. And this season has been very different with Aston Martin, Alpine and now McLaren on the podium again. This is why it's one of the best battles in the midfield that we have seen, as the pecking order is different in every single race. Even the battle for the final points paying positions is competitive, with Williams and Alex Albon looking very quick, as we touched upon earlier. One of the best things about this season is simply the battle from P2 to P10, because it is different in almost every single race, and that's what makes Formula One exciting. Teams will be bringing upgrades at tracks which could change the order massively. Like McLaren in Silverstone, they went from never getting points to getting a podium, making it so unpredictable. And that's what fans want in the sport. This season will go down as one dominated by Verstappen, and one where the battle for the win was just never happened, and that is the most exciting aspect of the sport. But it also has to be remembered as one where we saw teams' pace changing from track to track. What do you think of the battle in the midfield? Is it one of the best we've seen in recent history? Or are there better seasons that you can think of? Let us know what you think about the 2023 season. Moving on to our next topic, and that is about the new regulations and how they have done some of their purpose in providing better racing. The racing for the win has gotten worse, but that's a topic for another video. But in the midfield, it has allowed teams to become more competitive than ever. This is because teams who are struggling can bring upgrades that help them find several tenths of a second that push them up the pack, making it so competitive within the midfield. The whole point of the regulations was to allow for better racing, and that is working, as going into a Grand Prix, you cannot call who will be in the points and on the podium. Only thing you can predict is that Max Verstappen will win the race, and that is for certain. In Formula One, You want the sport to be unpredictable and exciting. And in the midfield, the new regulations have made it like that. And this is what all fans want. They're not perfect, that's for sure, but they have brought back that competitive edge where the smaller teams can challenge and beat the big dogs. The cost cap has also allowed for the racing to be close too, as in previous seasons, teams like Ferrari would have an unlimited budget to spend on their car, meaning they would never be beaten by a Williams like we saw in Silverstone. The cost cap has allowed for an equal playing field for all the teams, and it makes it much easier for the teams to be close to each other as they can only bring a certain amount of upgrades to the track. Overall, it has to be said that the new regulations that were brought in 2022 have allowed better racing in the midfield. But let us know in the comments below what you think. Is the racing better due to the regulations, or is there another factor? Make sure to let us know in the comments below. To end this video, we'll be touching on how the McLaren upgrades that we saw in both Austria and Silverstone give hope to the smaller teams that anything is possible, and they can get into the battle for the podium or even win in the near future. The biggest surprise of the season so far is the amount of pace that McLaren gained with a couple of big upgrade packages and how they were closest to Red Bull in Silverstone. Nobody saw it coming. And when multiple world champion Mika Häkkinen said that they were going to challenge Red Bull, everyone laughed at him. Well, he was very true, wasn't he? The point is that these regulations allow for improvements to be drastically made in the factory through hard work and dedication to finding ways to make the car go quickly. In Bahrain, McLaren was the slowest team, and now they're probably the second quickest. And this gives hope to Alfa Tauri, for example, as they are probably the slowest now. And if they can nail some upgrades, they can be up there too. This further enables our point how this season is giving us the best midfield battle in recent history, as anyone can become quick. And it also keeps all of the teams on their toes. Overall, having looked at all of these points that we have discussed through this video, it has to be said that the 2023 season has had its positives and its negatives. We have the battle in midfield, which is so exciting and is changing from race to race, but we don't have the battle for the lead, which is probably the most important point of the sport. But that may change in the near future. The midfield battle will be very interesting to see as we go into the summer break. And once we come out of it, the order may change even more. Who knows, Williams might be as quick as the Red Bull. We will just have to wait and see if that happens. The championship battle is not there, but everywhere else, there is a battle for each position. And that is what making the 2023 season so exciting and fun to watch for the most part. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one.